Good morning, everybody. I turned my camera lengthwise this time, so hopefully it'll be a little better. Okay, are you ready for assignment number 4? Here we go. So this one's gonna get a little deep, but that's good, right? Okay, this week I want you to identify triggers. And I know everyone goes, triggers, okay, got it. I know what my triggers are. So I just want to go through and explain it a little bit. There are certain things that happen during our day, certain people that we're around, certain situations that we come across that trigger us to do a couple things. Most of which that I'm concerned about are triggers that make you want to eat. And so they're not always bad triggers. I posted stuff about going to the movies and what I used to eat. And so actually for me, going to the movies was a trigger. It triggered me to want to eat a pound of candy and Whoppers and malted milk balls and peppermint patties. So that's not a bad thing to go to the movies. But stress, being tired, being bored are really common triggers. And you're going to read that in the written part that I'm going to post in a little bit. But I just want to talk about triggers because they're things that we can't always avoid. We can avoid going to the movies. We can avoid certain people for a length of time. But really, if we're going to live on this planet for another 45 or 50 years, because that's what I'm banking on, we're going to have to learn to change our way of thinking about triggers. And so the first thing that you have to do is identify your triggers. So in the written assignment, I give you a couple of examples of triggers, but after I wrote that, I thought of even some better or different kinds of triggers for me. They're my triggers. So a prime one, and it happened today, and so it's just right on the tip of my tongue. So read the ones I put in the assignment, but another one for me is certain people. So I talk about in the written one having phone conversations with my mom that end up being frustrating or make me impatient, but there are people in my life that trigger me to want to eat food. So I might have a certain friend, and I use that term loosely, but also what happened today. I saw something that someone that I'm an acquaintance with, and it just irritated me. And what did I want to do? I ran right to the kitchen, opened up my cupboard, and was just kind of pissed off and annoyed and whatever, and I was just gonna grab something because I just needed to pacify myself, whatever. And I'm like, oh my gosh, that person's a huge trigger for me. And so what do I do? In the past, I would grab whatever and I would sit down and I would eat it and not feel any better and still be pissed off and then have consumed 300, 400 extra calories. So what do I do now? I stop and I say, whoa, this person is totally a trigger and occupying space in my head. And I needed to kind of get a little psychological and figure out why whatever he or she did made me feel the way that I did. And then say, okay, so I feel a resentment, or I feel anxiety, or I feel mad, or whatever. And I don't need to eat over it. It's not going to make me feel any better. I physically have to stop myself and say, you're not going to eat over, you're not going to give this person or this situation so much power in your life that it's going to force you to eat some calories. So it doesn't always work. And I got to make that super clear. Sometimes I'm still going to eat over a particular trigger situation. I'm not perfect. If I was, I'd be a glamazon model walking around everywhere, filthy rich, right? And I don't know, whatever perfect is. So, but I'm not perfect. People are still going to get under my skin. Situations still are going to trigger me to eat things that I don't want to. But 80% of the time, I can stop and I can take a second and say, hey, this is why you feel that way. And it doesn't always make it better, but it does make me stop in my tracks. And then the next worst case scenario is, okay, well, I grab something to eat, but maybe it's not 500 calories of something because I don't have things in my house that are gonna be trigger foods for me. And so it's, I grab a handful of grapes and say, okay, whatever, I'm gonna eat the grapes. Or whatever it is, grab something to drink and say, okay, whatever, I'm just gonna drink this coconut water or something, just to pacify myself. And then the worst case scenario is I go, well, F it, I'm pissed off, and damn it, I'm gonna eat whatever it is that I possibly have in my house. So that's one of the solutions, is that I don't have crap in my house. So first of all, I have to identify the trigger. I have to stop myself mid grab for food. I have to acknowledge I feel X, Y, and Z. I don't feel hungry. I feel pissed, stressed, hungry, annoyed, sad, happy, irritated, whatever. And then I have to decide, okay, my husband's gonna come in and make a lot of noise. I have to decide, am I gonna eat? What am I gonna eat? And can I walk away from the situation? So that's what I want you to do this week. I want you to pay attention to what happens during the week, and stop yourself when you're in a situation where you're not hungry, but you're being triggered to eat. And I want you to identify those triggers. So for a lot of us, they're going to be very unique situations. And then for a lot of us, we're all going to have some of the same similar triggers, like boredom, being tired, and being stressed. Those are 3 that probably all of us are going to have. And so you can come in. So I want you to identify what those triggers are. I want you to write them down in your notebooks. And I want you to get and start practicing what you're going to do to recognize what the feelings are that you're feeling, and that's not hunger, and take notice of what those situations are. And then the other thing I want you to do is, for those 3 really common triggers, boredom, stress, and being tired, I want you to come up with a list of I can't remember what I wrote in the assignment, 3 to 5 things that you can do instead of eating. And I want you to follow the directions that I put in the assignment, because there's very specific instructions as to what I want you to do with that list. And, there's like that, oh, well, go get a massage, go get your nails done, go read a book, go for a walk. And I know that those all sound kind of woo-woo out there, but maybe it's like clean out the junk drawer, or turn on some loud music and dance. I mean, we've got to replace those feelings of, we don't need to replace the feelings. We need to understand the feelings, and understand that because we feel bored, tired, or stressed does not mean we need to eat bad food. We got to replace it with something else. And so until you get good at replacing it with something else, you need that written reminder of a few things that you can do. Okay, so one more little bit of housekeeping. I know people are just like, when is she going to tell us to work out? When is she going to tell us how many calories to eat? When is she going to tell us to eat gluten-free? When is she going to tell us what? Okay, so that's advanced stuff. We're going to get to that, don't worry. But we have some basic stuff we got to do first, okay? So stick with it. That's your assignment. I'll put the written one up soon. So both the video and the written one kind of go together. They're both important. And you do not have to comment below on the videos, but I would love it if you would like it, either the video or the written assignment, so that I know that you are reading them and looking at them. I love your comments. But some of us aren't commenting, or talkative, commentative, whatever. That's okay. Just like it so I know that you're looking at it. All right. Have a great day. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.